Humans, as we are, we tend to get curious on how things become so powerful. We'd pore over historical books on how Roman emperors conquered the city, how mentors wiped out the mighty dinosaurs, or perhaps why Warren Buffett became so rich. But sometimes we jump into assumptions that can lead to ludicrous and unrealistic conclusions, and in the end, we often overlook the key drivers of success. So we're here to set the record straight. Warren Buffett, currently 91 years old, has accumulated a net worth of more than $125 billion. A large portion that no doubt came from effective management of his wealth and his company. Dubbed the Oracle of Omaha for his investment powers, he has amassed a personal fortune worth more than $100 billion, according to Forbes. He made his fortune through a simple but effective investment strategy. His investments are long-term positions that he achieves by purchasing fundamentally sound companies that are trading at a significant discount to their essential value. Coca-Cola, Gillette, and Dairy Queen are among his most well-known investments. With that said, those who know Buffett's success most likely know that it stemmed from his early age of investing in finances, and we're here to give you a brief outline on how he did it. Starting out early, Buffett was born on August 30, 1930 in Omaha, Nebraska to Howard and Layla Buffett. He was the only boy and also the second of 3 children. His father was a stockbroker and a 4-term member of the United States Congress. His father, Howard, served 2 non-consecutive terms on the Republican ticket but also advocated for libertarianism. At such a young age, Buffett had an early interest in making money, so he sold soft drinks and even delivered newspapers. After saving enough money, he invested the proceeds from these ventures in 40 acres of land, which he then decided to rent for a profit. This is the first crucial step in building Buffett's net worth as he begins to grow his wealth. By the time he was old enough, his father had urged him to apply to the University of Pennsylvania, in which he got in. However, after 2 years, Buffett got tired and was unimpressed, so he transferred to the University of Nebraska. Still hungry for knowledge, Buffett persuaded his father of the importance of education and decided to pursue a graduate degree. He got into Columbia and went to study under the famous Benjamin Graham, the father of value investing. During his time in Columbia, Benjamin was able to learn a lot of things and laid the groundwork for a long and illustrious career, albeit one that began slowly. You probably think that having such a great mentor means you get connections. But Graham refused to hire Buffett after graduation, even implying that he should ignore a career on Wall Street. Buffett's father agreed with Graham, and Buffett returned to work at his father's brokerage firm in Omaha. He married Susan Thompson and began a family. A short time later, Graham changed his mind and offered Buffett a job in New York. Investment philosophy. This part of Buffett's life is where he finally began to make strides in making sure he is where he is now. Finally, having the opportunity, Buffett began expanding on investing theories he learned from Graham at Columbia. His second step in growing that net worth is through his first rodeo, value investing. He had first learned it through Graham, who introduced it as a way to look for stocks that were selling at a significant discount to the value of the underlying assets, which he referred to as intrinsic value. Instead of following the same advice, Buffett in the end applied the same concept by looking beyond the numbers and concentrated more on internal and external management of the company. This means their management team and the product's competitive advantage in the marketplace. When 1956 came, Buffett returned to Omaha and finally established the Buffett Associates and purchased his very own home where he still lives today. In 1962, after amassing wealth but still not well known, he joined forces with Charlie Munger, who is now his vice chairman and second in command. This collaboration eventually resulted in the creation of an investment philosophy based on Buffett's concept of value investing as more than just wringing the last few dollars out of dying business. In their collaboration, they acquired Berkshire Hathaway, a dying textile company. To his surprise, the business began to show signs of improvement, and what began as a classroom lecture, he was able to turn into a longer-term investment. The money generated by the business was then used to fund other investments. Although it was closed in 1984, the business showed that Buffett's investment philosophy worked and no doubt helped him take off his net worth. It is based on the principle that getting stock should be taken from companies who are well managed and undervalued. When he makes a purchase, his goal is to hold securities, which is basically a financial instrument that can be traded in the financial market. Some of the companies that have met his criteria are Coca-Cola, American Express, and the Gillette Company. They have all remained in Berkshire Hathaway's portfolio for many years. As he purchased the companies, he usually let their management teams handle the day-to-day business. Despite the technology rising, Buffett didn't invest in technology during the late 1990s and instead focused on what he knew. Because of this, a lot of people have expressed their dissatisfaction and even named him as the man whose time had already passed. But later did they know that when the dot-com bubble started collapsing in 1999, several tech companies declared bankruptcy, which led to Buffett's profits doubling. Living differently. Another reason why Buffett was able to acquire $125 billion is that unlike millionaires and billionaires who live an extravagant lifestyle, drive fancy sport cars, and buy designer clothes, Buffett lives frugally. Despite living in a net worth measured in billions, Warren Buffett is incredibly frugal. In fact, as previously mentioned, he still lives in the 5-bedroom house he bought in 1958 for only $31,000, still drinks Coca-Cola, and even dines at local restaurants. For years, he didn't like purchasing a corporate jet, but when he finally acquired one, he even named it the Indefensible in an attempt to prove his hatred for spending money on jets. His previous wife, Susan Thompson, was an American activist for the causes of civil rights, abortion rights, and birth control, and have remained married for more than 50 years after their 1952 wedding. They have 3 children, Susie, Howard, and Peter. When Buffett and Susan separated in 1977, they continued to remain married until her death in 2004. But now, Buffett is married to Astrid Menks, a previous waitress. Among the many family traditions in the Buffett family is that once their grandkids graduate, they will have to live on their own and no money will be given to them. This just shows that Buffett is different compared to most billionaires. He prioritizes the importance of living normally at the same time earning your keep. No doubt his controlled spending, though may not seem much, actually helped him maintain his current net worth. Compounding. According to money expert Morgan Housel, the most overlooked fact about how Warren Buffett amassed fortune is basically through compounding. Because Buffett began seriously investing at such a young age, this was considered one of the factors for his success. But not only that, if Buffett was a normal person today, there is no way he would be able to get the net worth he has now. How so? Effectively, most of Buffett's financial success is grounded to the financial base he has built throughout the years and how it generates more earnings. That's basically how compounding works. The ability of an asset to generate earnings, which are then reinvested or remain invested with the goal of generating their own earnings. In other words, Buffett generates more earnings from previous earnings. Buffett might be the richest investor of all time, but he isn't actually considered the greatest. In fact, Jim Simons, founder at the hedge fund Renaissance Technologies, has compounded money at 66% annually since 1988. No one comes close to this record. But why is it that Simons isn't the richest investor? Well, that's because unlike Buffett, Simons only started investing when he was 50 years old. The bottom line is that Warren Buffett started investing at such a young age, not only that, but because of the great education he has received from a master mentor. A lot of people get mad at the rich, but you can't blame people for devoting all their effort to trying to earn the highest investment returns. What Warren Buffett tells us is that good investing isn't necessarily about earning the highest returns.